Good day to all of you. Thank you very much for joining me for another reading of Reddit. Today, I think we will dish around in the bin of AITA. Let's get moving. Am I the a-hole for calling my disabled friend's husband cruel for keeping her in the mountains? My friend Tara was in an accident about 2 years ago that put her in a wheelchair. She is able to stand for short amounts of time and take a few steps, so she is pretty self-sufficient, but she needs her wheelchair, especially when she wants to leave the house. The problem is that we live in an old town in the mountains that wasn't built with disabled people in mind. It's hard for Tara to get around during the summer, and it's nearly impossible during the winter since we get a lot of snow here. Tara tells me often about how she wants to move out of the mountains and down to the city, but her husband doesn't want them to because all their family and friends are here. My husband got a great job opportunity in the city, so we are moving there. We were having a dinner with Tara and her husband, and we were talking about us moving. Tara seemed happy. She said that if they move there too, it will be so good that we already be there and their kids would have friends to play with. She told her husband now they don't have to worry about being alone and not knowing anyone there. Her husband shut her down, saying that they already talked about this and they need the help that their families are providing for them and they can't move away. Tara said that they wouldn't need so much help if she could move around more freely in the city. I took Tara aside and the conversation went on until I started getting frustrated and told Tara's husband that he is cruel for forcing his wife to live in the mountains where her mobility is so limited. He got angry and told me I have no idea how hard it is for him, even with all the help, and that I should just mind my own business. He is right. I don't know how it is for him, but I do know how it is for Tara, and that she is basically a prisoner here. Am I the butthole for what I said? Well, maybe just a little bit. I get that you're pretty emotional about it, and I get that you definitely know your friend's side more than maybe the whole picture there. And I do know that you empathize with her being very unhappy. But yeah, there might be other financial things or something that's going on there that, their families are helping with or whatever. But making a big move like that is kind of a big thing too. And if you don't have like a new job that's going to pay a lot better, moving from a rural place to a city is usually, you know, it's kind of an upswing there, like rural places are usually cheaper to rent than cities and things and so on. Also, you tend to make a lot less money living out in the country. Most jobs really don't pay all that well out here if you're lucky to find one and you don't have to commute to a city. So I think it's pretty complicated, and I'm not sure if you know what, here, if you apologize for what you said and you just let them know that, hey, from my perspective, here's what it is, and I'm sorry for calling you cruel. Maybe that was too harsh of a judgment. It's just, here's my side of things, and, I'm sorry, and I hope we can get along. I think if you do that, if you repair the situation a little bit, I think everybody here would probably be amicable and things could go on for the better.
Hey, so, because in the About section of our channel, this channel is listed as a father-daughter collaboration, I figured it's my turn to put my 2 cents in on one of these stories. So, I got 2 things that I want to talk about this story. First thing is when the husband says, "You have no idea how hard it is for me, even with all the help." And I just want to say, this isn't about you. No one cares about how hard it is for you, because none of this is about you. And the second thing I want to bring up, that I feel like everyone in the story, and also my dad reading the story, completely overlooked, is this one point that OP made, this one really good point, that if Tara was in the city where she could freely move about, then she wouldn't need all this help that her husband is so desperate, that her husband is acting like she needs so much. Because if she was actually in a place where she was comfortable and she could actually get around and not be confined to her house 24/7, she wouldn't need all the help that you're saying that she needs. And I'm just like, I can't get over. I just can't get over this, and it makes me really angry. So I figured I'd stick my 2 cents in, and there I've stuck my 2 cents in. Anyway,
This next tale is entitled, Am I the Butthole for Calling Him an Effing Embarrassment? I've been seeing my fiance for 4 years now, and I came into the relationship with 2 boys. My boys are now 12 and 9. Once a year, me and the boys go to the family's vacation home with the entire family, and up until this year, my fiance did not attend. But now that we are engaged and merging families, the family asked that he come too. They all get along great with him, anyways. I explained to him prior to us coming to our family retreat that during our week stay with the family, my kids do not have a bedtime. We do a lot of night activities such as night swimming in the pool, karaoke, fires, nightly strolls through the neighborhood, etc., etc. So during this week, my kids absolutely do not have a bedtime, and this is how it's always been. I made it clear that bedtime was not to be enforced like it was at home, because this is vacation and time with the family, and I'm not making my kids miss out on the nightly activities. I also explained that due to this, some nights they are up easily until 11 p.m. or midnight. It's once a year, it's no big deal. So he was fully aware, and please note that this is the only time I've seen this side of him that I will mention below. We get here the first night, and you can tell he is already uncomfortable with the boys staying up past their bedtime. He is stressing out because the boys were still in the pool at 10 p.m. and he felt they should already be in bed. I reminded him at least twice that we were not enforcing bedtime here, and he let it go the first night. But the second night, 9 p.m. rolls around, and the boys were still up, and my fiance was dropping comments like, "You're lucky you're even still awake right now, you should be in bed," saying it right in front of my mom, who looked mortified that he had such an attitude. I told him to cut the fucking shit in private. He tells me he thinks it's fucked up, and that it's going to be terrible trying to get them back on their schedule. Never been an issue in prior years. I stood firm and told him to knock it off and to let it go. But then last night, my fiance starts angry sighing every single time he looks at my kids still awake, and I finally pulled him aside and told him that he was a fucking embarrassment because he keeps saying these comments in front of my family, which leads to awkward silences and judgmental glances my way. I warned him prior to coming here, and if he had an issue that he can't control for a week, then he needs to leave because he's ruining our trip with this passive-aggressive BS surrounding my bedtime. He told me I'm an a-hole for making him feel like garbage over wanting to keep the kids on the schedule because it's best for them. Am I the butthole? No, OP, not the butthole here. Your fiance certainly is, though. I think you're right. Like, if he can't control this, need his own need to control bedtime, I don't know. Maybe there's something else going on there. Maybe he feels like he's a little left out or short of attention, or maybe he, wanted to put the kids to bed early so he could spend time with you or something. But of course, he's not communicating any of that to you. All he's doing is kind of being a punk. So no, you are not the butthole here. You were very forthright in your communication. And no butthole score for you. Am I the a-hole for calling my husband an effing a-hole in front of our kids? Let me preface this story by stating that I am a person living with multiple disabilities, which affect my vision, mobility, and mental health. I have been living with these conditions for the past 10 years, but the last year has been really hard. So last night we went to an event as a family, my husband, 2 teenagers, and I. It was stormy out, high winds, snow, icy sidewalks. We had to park maybe 400 meters away from the venue. When we walked to the venue, it was daylight and the sidewalks were passable. My husband and kids walked ahead of me. I was a bit annoyed but let it go, not wanting to ruin the evening. After the event, we left. I turned away from my family for maybe 20 seconds to say goodbye to someone who sat with us at the event. When I turned around, my family was halfway to the car. I was really annoyed. I trudged through the dark, snowy weather. I literally could barely make it to the car because the wind was so strong, and the sidewalk was quite icy at this point. I finally made it to the parking lot, and my husband pulled the car out of the parking spot and picked me up probably 10 feet from where we had parked. I got in the car and said, "Thanks a lot for waiting for me, fucking asshole." My husband acted surprised and said he was planning on bringing the car around to pick me up. Hearing is not one of my disabilities, and my family never told me this was the plan. We had told the kids we'd go to their favorite restaurant afterwards, and we drove there in awkward silence. We got there, and my husband acted all sulky, didn't order food, and was staring at his phone. I looked at him and told him at least he owed me an apology. He said, "I'm sorry. It was a misunderstanding. My daughter, who's 19, said I was ruining the night." I let it go, but I'm still upset by the situation. So here I am, prepared for an honest judgment. Am I the butthole here? A little bit. Like maybe you didn't have to swear at your husband, but I think what happened here was just a miscommunication. You didn't really communicate to them that you felt a little left behind, or you felt, a little insulted that they didn't wait up for you on the way in. And maybe that, just communicating that, like, "Hey guys, could you just wait up for me? It just doesn't make me feel good that, I kind of like feel left behind or stuck behind." And maybe the other part of the thing wouldn't have happened. But I'm not blaming you completely here, because afterwards, it would have been nice if that was the plan, to have your husband go get the car and come and pick you up. He probably should have told you that, "Hey, you know what, just wait here. The sidewalk's slippery. I'm going to go get the car and I'll bring it around." But he didn't do that. So everybody's a little bit guilty of a miscommunication, and you're definitely guilty of kind of embarrassing him in front of the kids when maybe you didn't have to do that. Maybe you could have just made the snarky comment about, "Hey, thanks for not waiting for me." But yeah, you didn't have to finish it with, that chef's kiss of an insult there. So I think we'll just wrap things up there.
Up, 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 up. No, we will actually not be ending the video there, because there was an update to the story. Update, edit, whatever, basically explaining, I apologize. I apologize to my kids and my husband. My husband apologized to me. Yada, yada, yada. I want to just give my, again, 2 cents on the situation. I think that pretty much everybody kind of sucks here. I think instead of an asshole judgment that the story got, it should be an everybody sucks here judgment, because the husband's complete lack of communication and the way he reacted afterward was asshole-ish. The insult you made was asshole-ish, and your daughter's saying that, "Oh, you're ruining the night," I think is also kind of asshole-ish. And I don't think you should have apologized to your daughter. Yeah, you should have apologized to your husband, but I don't think you should have apologized to your daughter at all, because you never did anything to them. Every comment that you made, the only comment that you made, was directed at your husband, not at your daughters. So I don't think they deserve an apology, and I think it was a wrong move of you to apologize to them, because they don't deserve an apology because nothing happened to them.
Thank you very much for joining me for another video, and I hope you made it to the end. Take care of yourselves. See you on the next one.